Okay. All right. We're going to start recording. We don't want to miss any of the pearls of wisdom. I think we have a bunch of people. So there's 56 people in the waiting room. We'll let them all in.
Let me make this
And then
lower.
we'll
Sorry
get
about that.
started. Just a little housekeeping, folks, on our team before we get started, Mike. Let's make sure that anybody from BCP, if they're not on camera, that's not what we prefer, but that's fine. But let's make sure we can identify anyone who joins that they're with our, either with our company or with another real estate company. If they're with another company, let's make sure they're on camera. So people are who they say they are. And let's mute everybody other than me for now, getting some feedback. All right. So welcome to everybody. Hope everybody's having a great Friday. We're excited for our second all hands meeting, and we have a very exciting special guest today. Probably the hottest topic in the industry right now is buyer compensation. And we brought Michael Scully here today, who's graciously agreed to speak with us. He is somewhat of an expert in this issue, if nothing else, simply by virtue of the fact that he works with the Bergen Board of Realtors, and he's intimately familiar with this, and he's done some research specifically to talk to us today. I think probably the best format, Mike and everyone, is Mike is just going to kind of talk a little bit, walk through some of his thoughts on what's going on for, let's say, roughly, 15 minutes or so. And then I think we have Mike for 30 minutes, and then we'll open it up for 15 minutes of Q&A. And then we'll have a half hour to cover everything else. We want to make sure we get everybody out of here in an hour if possible. So, with that, I will turn it over to Mike. Let me stop sharing for now so we can Alyssa, can you put the focus on Mike somehow? There he is.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? I won't know the answer to that because most of you have been muted, so I'll presume that everybody's doing just fine. My name is Michael Scully. I'm an attorney in Hackensack, New Jersey. I have for many years represented all different facets of the real estate brokerage industry. I've represented companies from the largest companies down to the smallest companies, including a company that only had one or two salespeople, and all the different sizes in between. I've had virtually a trial and a case for practically every facet of a broker's operation that can result in a lawsuit. It could be simple because of a breach of contract, because of a failure to discover a septic system, because of a problem with professional responsibilities and disclosed to an agency, etc. We've had them all, and fortunately, we're still standing, and the clients are still thriving. I'm proud that you asked me to participate in this particular very intriguing and potentially impactful review of a delicate issue that faces the industry right now, that can affect all the people in the industry and even people beyond the industry. I want to disclaim something I just mentioned about all the different cases I've tried in all the different counties, etc. I do not have any experience actively handling an antitrust case. I've been following this case in particular more out of academic interest than out of representation of any of the clients. I have a number of clients whose companies have been sued and brought into the case, and the present case that's pending. And I wanted to alert everybody about the potential issues, the potential downside, about the arguments of the parties, about the risks, and about the size of the financial exposures that are faced in this particular case. This case involves, the case we're reviewing is actually a case that is on trial right now in Kansas City, Missouri, in the federal district court. In that case, it is alleged that the National Association of Realtors and several of its specifically identified members are engaged in unfair competition and are engaged in practices that violate antitrust laws. There is a very sizable exposure contained in this case, presented in this case, and there is a variety of outcomes that could turn out of the suit, and it ranges the full spectrum. It could very well be that the defendants, who include and are led by the National Association of Realtors, prevail and defeat the claim and prevent any judgment that might be entered against them. On the other side of the spectrum, the suit involves a class of plaintiffs living in Missouri who have sold their houses through brokers and who claim that they are unfairly, routinely overcharged. They complain that there's been a standard established among the National Association of Realtors and among its member companies that call for real estate brokerage commissions in the amount of 6% to be charged to sellers, and B, they specifically claim and carry on in large degree with respect to the portion that's paid to the selling broker. The selling broker routinely, I won't say exclusively or necessarily because there are variations, but the selling brokers are invited to cooperate and are offered in exchange for that by the listing brokers some quantum of the commission that's going to be paid by the seller out of the closing, at the time of closing to both brokers. And the complaint here is that sellers are testifying this week live in front of a judge and in front of a jury that they were completely unaware that it was mandatory, or that more likely it was negotiable in terms of the cooperation to be invited by the other side, the selling side, and in terms of the quantum that needs to be paid. Testimony has been delivered just this week, these last few days, by sellers who say that they understood that it was required that they cooperate. They complain about the amount of fee that has to be paid to the cooperating broker, and some of them complain about the theory of under what explanation would plausibly the seller be responsible to pay the selling broker a commission to negotiate terms against the seller and in favor of the buyer. Many of them have testified, several of them have testified that they're just completely unaware of the choice, and they thought that it was a requirement. The response has been on behalf of leading the charge on National Association of Realtors, said that the duty to cooperate is important for the sake of the sellers. The duty to cooperate invites a wider pool of prospective buyers in to become interested in the property, and in exchange, it's only fair that they be offered a portion of the commission. Historically, the commission structure in many areas has been in the area of 5 to 6%. They point out in the trial, by evidence that it's been produced by the plaintiffs, that routinely in Europe and in Australia and other parts of the world, real estate brokerage commissions are in the range of 1.5% to 2%. And that doesn't involve both sides of a commission, that involves the totality of the commission that's paid. And they complain that there's been this implicit requirement by the National Association of Realtors to mandate that listing brokers who are members must offer cooperation. Lost in the play is some level of details, at least in New Jersey. I can't speak for Missouri, but it's not the case that it's mandatory. It is the case that it has to be documented, it has to be in writing, that people are waiving the right to solicit cooperation and to involve the other another broker, and it can be waived. But right now, they're on track to have a decision made by the court that this commission structure is unlawful, and it is particularly unlawful to require sellers to pay an amount to a cooperating broker who's invited to produce a buyer. Naturally, the National Association of Realtors and the defendants' position has been that there is no agreement in place, there's no collusion, et cetera. And they deny the principal terms of the agreement. Now, a couple of things I think are unique or to me somewhat surprising is that nowadays you can look up some background information on the parties to a lawsuit. You can also look up background information for many attorneys who are involved in lawsuits. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to get a feel for what was the firm and who was the attorney who's representing the plaintiffs against these brokerage companies. And to my somewhat surprise, The attorney doesn't claim on his website to have any background or experience in connection with the real estate brokerage industry. In New Jersey, at least, and may be true in many cases, there's a very small number of attorneys who actually are able to make a living on a substantial part of their practice being in the real estate brokerage industry. You know, I'm thankful to be one of those and to have my firm be one of those. And I expected it would be someone who we've come across over the years and who has demonstrated some working knowledge of how it is that the real estate brokerage industry operates. In this case, this is a personal injury attorney who is proud on his website and has bragged that he's gotten many different judgments for millions of dollars, you know, in personal injury litigation, and they operate in several states, including, you know, Missouri and Illinois, and no reference whatsoever to antitrust experience or to real estate brokerage experience. Not to say that it's scientific, not to say that it's too technical or too difficult for a lawyer to learn. Not at all. I'm living proof of that. But the fact is that he knows how to try a case, and he's presented, in my estimation, this is opinion, in my estimation, a plausible basis for a jury to conclude that if he convinces the jury of the existence of this agreement, the existence of the endorsement and the encouragement to have selling brokers cooperate, and if he convinces the jury that it is tacitly agreed among real estate brokerage companies to do what they can to keep the commission level as high as possible, they're seeking $4 billion in damages. And I had heard about the $4 billion in damages, but after I heard about the $4 billion in damages, I heard about something that surprised me more, because especially a creative plaintiff's attorney would be very, you know, apt to engineer a high level of exposure in order to get a reasonable level of a settlement. And this is probably a high level attorney that's working for the plaintiffs in this case. And to me, the biggest surprise in the case so far occurred before the trial started. You know, two particular companies, you know, both of whom I'm sure you've come across in the competition that exists in New Jersey among real estate brokerage companies. You know, Anywhere, the Anywhere company, who has offices everywhere, and I'm sure you've come across them oftentimes, has agreed to settle the case with the plaintiff. And under the terms of the settlement, they've agreed to pay $83.5 million. And that halted me, because Anywhere is a company, and I have a lengthy experience with the company, but they're a company that is well advised, is a company that has access to tremendous resources. And when I heard and read about the settlement that was presented and negotiated, I thought that there must be something very, very substantial in terms of the risk that Anywhere concluded existed in putting this case in front of a jury. Now, when you hear of antitrust, just so you know what we're working with, when you hear of antitrust, oftentimes you think that that's something in which the government is involved. And the government is involved in a large number of antitrust cases. However, the laws for antitrust support the existence of a private lawsuit by an individual plaintiff or a class of individual plaintiffs that are not tied in any way to the government. That's the case right here. Supposedly, according to the newspapers that I've read, or some items that I've seen on the line, supposedly the Department of Justice, the United States law enforcement agency responsible to carry out the rights and suits in favor of the government, has expressed an interest in the lawsuit, is following the lawsuit, and it's been speculated that they may at some point take a stand or take a position on the lawsuit. They have not done that yet. But this is not the case that's going to go away, because there's been other actions. There's been an antitrust action out in the Washington area, the state of Washington area, that several months ago was thrown out of court. there's a pending trial in Illinois, not far from the site of the Kansas City lawsuit trial that's going on right now, in which the plaintiffs in that case seek more than $4 billion. They seek $40 billion in that case. Besides Anywhere, there's been another significant player who has settled the case, and that player is Remax. And Remax has agreed to pay, I believe it was $55 million. I forget the exact amount right now. I wrote it down someplace here. But we're talking about large companies with tremendous resources, tremendous analytics, information, etc. And we're talking about a claim which is going to be delivered not to a judge who's been trained and experienced in law and legal matters, but to 6 citizens of the United States who most likely, I'm sorry, and it may be 12, it may be 12. In New Jersey, it's the majority of 6 would deliberate over a case like this, but in Illinois, it might be a larger pool. But most likely, those jurors have been vetted in a way that anybody who has any thought on the topic, anybody who has any experience in the field, anybody who has any stake in the outcome would ordinarily be expected to be booted and not allowed to participate as a juror to decide these important questions. So what we have here is a system where it's not the government that's making a decision as to whether or not these individual companies have colluded or acted in a way in concert that has served to cause millions or billions of dollars to be wrongfully incurred and expended by buyers and sellers of real estate. You know, we don't have any way to forecast how that civil jury is going to act. Cases decided by judges are vulnerable to, not vulnerable to, but you can look up a history of a judge. You can look up the cases that he's been involved in, at least the reported cases, maybe not every single case he's been involved in. And you can get a feel from talking to attorneys who appeared in front of the case, in front of the particular judge, of the judge's bent. And everybody is human, and everybody has unique views, and everybody has tendencies and favoritisms, etc. And here in Bergen County, for many years, there were 2 judges in the courthouse who had chambers right and courtrooms right next to each other. And one judge in particular thought that lawsuits and plaintiffs who pursued lawsuits were just somehow or another illegitimate attempts for money grabs. And they just thought that he just brought to the table his own, and he didn't do this nefariously, he didn't do this maliciously, he didn't do this because he had any acts in the, you know, any acts in the outcome, etc. It's just the way he was built. And right next to him was a judge, a judge who was just so genuinely, instinctively, humanely sympathetic. And if you got the case assigned to one judge, the first judge, and you're a defendant, you better be scrambling, you better be ready to pay to get the case settled, because if you were a defendant. And in the case of an assignment to the other judge, you know, if you're a plaintiff, you're in heaven, and if you're a defendant, well, you're gonna, you know, you better pony up to the bar and pay what's necessary to get rid of the case, because this case could be dangerous with that particular judge. But when you have a jury of 6 or 12 or whatever they allow for in Missouri, whose background and leanings are completely unknown, you get a very sparse chance to get to know a juror in terms of the selection process. You know, it's a roll of the dice. And
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You are giving us an amazing amount of information and knowledge, but I do know we only have you for 30 minutes. So I was wondering, we could start moving to Q&A. I think the thing that we hear most from agents is wanting to know immediately today, how does it impact? I mean, this is amazing information and insight that we've never had into what's going on with the actual court cases. But I think what our agents are going to come down to is, should they be doing something different today based on what's going on in the way they're conducting businesses? Should we be making any changes to form? Should we be changing how we, talk to our clients? Should we
Alex,
be
it's a great question, and absolutely yes to all the subparts. Your agents have to be ultra sensitive to these topics and not do something to trip into leading a seller or a buyer to believe that, well, wait a minute, this commission rate is set or it's not negotiable, et cetera. Now, here's the tricky part about that discussion, is that individual companies are not precluded from taking a position in terms of what they'd like to see in terms of a rate or a dollar amount of price on a listing agreement. It's when they collude with others and when they act together that it could be very, very dangerous. But your agents, your company's independent contractors, have to be hypersensitive to the thought that you cannot communicate with a prospective seller, for instance, or you wish to list the property for sale. You cannot communicate in a way that leaves that seller with the impression that there's some unwritten rule that this has to be X percent or X and a half percent or what it is. You have to be so hypersensitive to the idea that the sellers and buyers read newspapers too, and the sellers and buyers might trip across articles about some of the things that we're talking about. And most sellers and buyers aren't interested in terms of legal questions or what's going on in currents across the country. But your agents have to, in all their communications with respect to pricing, I'll call it, and with respect to cooperation, they have to sell. They have to convince. Cooperation, one of the huge points that they keep driving on in Kansas City in the trial that's going on this week, is that sellers say, I don't understand why I need to have anybody cooperate. I'm hiring a broker to sell my house. You have to convince them of the advantages of the spread of the possible audience, the people who are prospective buyers for that property. You have to convince them that by inviting in this cooperating agent, you're tapping into a pool that might not otherwise be available or interested or even aware that a property is listed. What's at stake in this trial, one of the things that's indirectly at stake in this trial, is the whole system of cooperation in order to sell real estate listed with a real estate broker. And I think it's upside down, but I don't know what the jurors are going to think. I think it's upside down to think that cooperation is not good, and why would I cooperate? I already have a broker. The idea that you can involve real estate agents from across the spectrum, across the county, the MLS area, and et cetera, and tap into a new pool of customers is I think singularly advantageous to the sellers. But in this particular trial, they're painting this as though the brokers are requiring us to cooperate, when in fact the regulatory history in New Jersey is to make sure that the seller's interests are adequately represented and the forms have to be signed and informed consent has to be obtained if you decide.
So can I stop you one more time, Mike? Sorry. When you say forms, that's a question we get a lot. So, at Keller Williams, we have some customized forms, but generally we use a lot of, the standard forms that are supplied by the Board of Realtors, the MLS. Is there anything that we need to think about changing when our agents are going out there and having documents signed that need to change as of today, or should we continue with the forms as they exist today from the Board of Realtors and the MLSs?
Well, I never discourage you from being proactive, and it'd be a topic to be developed and pursued ASAP. We're right in the, I won't say the middle of the trial, but we're right in the midst of this trial that's going on. This trial is going to be with us, or the results of the trial is going to be with us for a long time. This trial is going to spur either a ratification, confirmation of the structure of the documents that the brokers have been receiving through the National State Association, or to say that all bets are off, we're going back to square A, and we're going to operate more like commercial brokers operate, who don't have the same general breadth of MLS services, et cetera, and cooperation between brokers. So
would you do anything in advance of this trial being adjudicated, and if so, what?
Well, I'll be happy to look over your forms. I expect you're probably using the Najar forms or New Jersey Realtors forms. I'm still stuck with the old terminology. I'll be happy to look at the forms you use, but I have a feeling that every one of those are going to be either ratified or structurally refined and maybe reversed, depending upon the outcome of this trial.
But now, if it's reversed, could we retroactively have an issue? Let's say we're using a form today, and 6 months from now they decide the language wasn't legal. Could they retroactively have an issue with that, or are we sort of safe with the current forms until there's a ruling?
You could. I'd never discourage you from being proactive on it and reviewing possible forms that could loosen up the grip on this concept of cooperation, which is at the heart of this lawsuit, and that may very well serve you favorably in case this judgment is entered in favor of the plaintiff, and in case this concept of a lawsuit spreads like wildfire, which, believe you me, if they get a $4 billion settlement that they're looking for, the plaintiffs in this case, every lawyer who's capable of trying this type of a case is going to be hunting and shopping for cases in New Jersey and every other state to go on. In terms of the proactivity, yes, it's worthwhile to review and discuss and think about how we can reshape just to buttress a downside. However, this lawsuit may be over very, very quickly and shortly, even before forms can be agreed. But that's not to discourage being proactive.
So, and then another question is related to that. As we're looking at this, and you may have touched on it initially, does the fact that some brokers have settled and some haven't, are they under any additional restrictions from the brokers who haven't settled? Are we aware of what they've agreed to? And, does that have any impact differently on us versus, say, a Remax or a Coldwell Banker that has already settled?
Great question. I attempted to find the full terms of the settlement and was unable to do so. The payment, for instance, that Anywhere is going to be is going to be staggered. The changes, I'm 90% certain, just my gut instinct tells me that a significant part of the settlement, besides the $83.5 million, is going to be some undertaking or agreement by CB and its affiliated companies to restructure, rethink their offers of cooperation, their procedures, and their forms, et cetera. But none of that has been made available in public. The agreement to settle was just published 3 or 4 weeks ago, something like that. And I'm sure they don't want that. But for your information, 2 of the witnesses that have testified at the trial, are the head fellow from the Anywhere company and a top executive from Remax. And I'm certain that one of the reasons what led the plaintiffs to settle with them is to see if they can get some cooperation from brokers. I haven't been able to read the actual transcripts of the testimony that Ryan Gorman has said or has provided, or that the Remax chief has provided. The parts that I read didn't seem particularly favorable to the plaintiffs, which surprised me. But we're not going to know that. I fully expect it's going to be reshaping the rules and principles of cooperating with other brokers and relieving the sellers more readily of the obligation to sign on. The lawsuit speaks as though sellers are presently required, mandated by the broker to participate in the MLS and to offer cooperation to other brokers, and they're acting as though they don't want that, the people who testify.
So one more thing for me, Mike, I won't monopolize all the questions, but it's something I wanted to post on social media today, and I said this is something that's going to get me in trouble, but it seems like the other companies are sort of working against, you know, us in this commission thing, in that it says that the folks who've already kind of caved, if there are any of you from those companies on this call, I apologize, but that have already caved on it. This is what a statement that just came out this morning. I don't know if you've seen it. It says the proposed settlements obligate Anywhere, which is Coldwell Banker, Prominent Properties, all those companies, not Prominent Properties, Sotheby's, and Remax to cooperate with the plaintiffs in the further prosecution of their claims against the remaining defendants. So it's sort of like, you know, criminals like turning on other people, you know, in a criminal trial. The plaintiffs allege that the non-settling defendants, NAR, Keller Williams, and Home Services, are still jointly and severally liable for all damages caused by all members of alleged conspiracy, meaning that the jury can find the remaining defendants responsible for any damages they decided Anywhere, Remax, and their fellow defendants caused. So it sounds like as these other companies kind of cave, everything that they were being charged with, or the penalties they would pay, are now being heaped on the people that stayed and fought, right? Is that what's happening?
That's an unrefined, oversimplistic statement of how the process
Well,
works.
look who you're talking to. Unrefined and oversimplified is my middle name, Mike. Anyone on this call will tell you that.
I don't think so, but here's the way the process goes, and it's an explanation why the people from Anywhere and the people from Remax are solicited to be witnesses in favor of the plaintiff on this case. Is that at the end of a trial process, what happens, I fully expect in Illinois, in Missouri and in Illinois later, is an apportionment. And the apportionment involves, okay, there's umpteen people that were sued here and claim to be at fault. And of those umpteen people, each one has some various level of culpability. If somebody settles, if one of the umpteen defendants settles, then the jury can still be required to assess their share in a percentage, that the totality of which comes to 100%. And if, say, for instance, that at the end of the trial, there are 10 main defendants, say, and 2 of them have settled, the jury will be required to affix a specific percentage of responsibility for Anywhere and for Remax and for anybody else who testifies. They will not be made to pay any extra money. Say, for instance, that they hit the lottery and they get a $4 billion judgment, and they say that Anywhere is actually 25% responsible for it. So they got $1 billion. Well, no, Anywhere would be smiling, because then they would have settled their share, valued at $1 billion by the jury, for $83,500, and it's terrific. So
what you're saying is Keller Williams stayed and fought for the agents, what's best for the agents, and they're doing the right thing, and the other companies are cowards. I think that's what you said. I'm just kidding.
What I also expect is going to happen is that there may very well be a need for the jury to make specific findings about responsibility for each individual defendant. So it may be that they don't establish that KW has any fault whatsoever. They give them a 0%, and they establish that somebody else, they give them a 90%. And Illinois laws and Missouri laws is likely different than New Jersey. Maybe different than New Jersey. But in New Jersey, what would happen is that if you hit above a certain threshold of percentage of apportionment of liability, then a plaintiff can collect the full amount from that party or any other party. And in this case, what they're targeting is, the National Association of Realtors. And that's the prime target. And I'd be curious to see what results in the apportionment. And I'm also curious to see what levels of insurance or funding, et cetera, exist for this type of claim, because many insurance policies limit severely claims for exposure to punitive damages, exposure to certain type of liabilities, and this
Sure.
may not even be insured. I don't know.
Sure. All right. Well, I will stop monopolizing your time. I know some of our agents had questions, and then we need to move on. We're already 6 minutes over with your time. Thank you for being so generous with your time.
Well,
Alyssa, do you have the order of who has questions? Or?
We have two hands up. Stacy, if you want to go ahead.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
we hear you.
Okay, so I'm just specifically talking about the New Jersey Realtor standard form of exclusive buyer agreement. This is the form that I know of that we have as agents. And I personally find this form to be very inefficient, and it does not protect the agents as well as I think it should, nor do I think it explains really everything that we're trying to do and everything on all the options that a client has. I think this has to be completely reworked to be much more descriptive, transparent, but also protect us. For example, it uses the word introduce in line 4. It says that you are, sorry, in 5, it says, agent, if any property introduced by buyer's agent. I think the language when it comes to these documents for buyer's agents, the word introduce becomes very gray, because essentially there's nothing that follows up that says if this buyer cancels the contract, that anything we introduce them to, they still have to pay us for if they try to go ahead and get it with another agent. Like, we have protection as listing agents that I feel like we don't have in this agreement. And that's my biggest concern. And that's just like one of them, right? You know what I'm talking about with the listing agreement? It says 60 to 90 days after, if they don't sign another exclusive buyer agent, anybody who came to see the house, the broker is still going to get paid. But there's no protection for the buyer agent. And that's just one of the things that I found to be completely upsetting about this particular document, which just feels not sufficient enough for what we're going up against.
Well, we've done reviews and revisions of other documents for other companies, and if you wish, we could certainly look into that, Al. You know, everybody has their own take on a particular document. It could be a launching pad, the form that's supplied by the state. It could be very well revised and fine-tuned for some of those items that you wish to address.
Thanks, Michael.
I know Sally said that she already has someone working on. Is it Mike that you're working with, Sally, or the KW legal department? I think you're on mute.
I sent it to Andrea.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, Mike, is that something, if we wanted to run our documents by, is that something you have an expertise on and you can help us with?
Of course. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Great. All right. Great question. Stacy, were you done with your question, Stacy? Okay. Who's next?
Lee, I see you have your hand up. I don't see you on video, Lee, but feel free to unmute. All right, Lee's not there. Kathy, I see you have your hand up. Kathy Warnett in New Jersey.
All right. There's also some questions in the chat. Have you guys been able to look through the chat, and do you want to?
Yeah, I think one of the questions that a lot of people seem to have is that, is there any possibility that this could end up in the agent's jurisdiction in any capacity? They said, will this be on a corporate level, or is there a possibility the lawyers could come after the agents as well if this does go past this particular litigation?
Very interesting question. The judgment will affect only the people who are parties to the suit. But if in the event, and I'm not certain that any company would want to or would be able to do this, but if an independent contractor agreement had a provision in it that dealt with responsibility for claims that arose out of the conduct of the agent's transactions, et cetera, which isn't an uncommon provision, you know, then theoretically the company might have the right to do it. But if it's the case that companies like that, companies would exercise that right, I think they would soon have very few agents left. And I think they'd be reluctant to do that. Extremely reluctant.
Kathy, I see you still have your hand up. You wanted to go ahead
Yeah,
and ask
so
the question?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we hear
Can
you.
you hear me? Okay. So my question is, how can an antitrust lawsuit be brought by people? Isn't that a government regulation?
No, it started out, the antitrust laws began in the 1800s to address the railroads, and they spread in the early 1900s, and they have largely existed for 100 years now. But the modern versions of those laws specifically authorize private individuals to go after this and authorize them to be paid attorney's fees, et cetera, as an incentive. Yes, the
Thank you.
government has the right to do it, but the government has not jumped into the suits that I've just addressed, Illinois and Kansas and Missouri and Washington.
Thank you for that. And one other thing, when we do an exclusive non-cooperating, would it be suggested that we actually show that to our listing and explain to them why it's not a good thing and have them sign off on it, as opposed to the ones who do want an exclusive agency?
Part of another talk that I give in other contexts in terms of risk management, what you just described is to paper your file and to be able to recreate and demonstrate that the clients you worked with made informed decisions after important discussions were had. And that's a topic where absolutely positively, at the very least, the outcome of what today's discussion should be is that the agents for your company and agents everywhere, should be certain to explain exactly the ups and downs, the benefits, the risks, et cetera, of, for instance, seeking cooperation. And financial, it's not necessarily a financial decision, because if somebody signs a listing agreement for 5% and it has a provision for cooperation, the commission is generally split with some variable possible, and then the amount is paid the same. And if it's the case that only one broker is involved, the broker who is the listing broker, you're still entitled to that same amount of money. So an informed decision, an enlightened discussion is so important. And you just touched on something that's so very important. We had some trial ready to start 2 weeks ago in Morristown, and we were talking about things that happened in January of 2020 and the trial in October of 2023. I've had cases where the trial takes place 7 years afterwards. You have to create a retrievable, documented foundation for you to explain what it is that you did 3.5 years ago with these particular purchasers, what they decided, what you discussed, and how it was done. And that's the key to a winning formula in any lawsuit, not just here, but it's especially well taken here where the stakes are so high.
So we want to keep going with some questions, but I think, we're getting some questions about the intricacies, not ones that have been asked so far, but I see in the chat of, the laws and things that are not necessarily related to us and how we do our job. Let's kind of restrict it to how it, impacts us as real estate agents. And we can have a separate one on general law. Susan?
So I need to understand this. So when a client signs a buyer agency agreement, you're putting down 2.5% or 2%, depending upon, I usually say 2 to 3% paid by the seller. Now what I'm hearing is you can't put that paid by the seller, that the buyer is 100% going to be having to pay for this coming down the pike. I'm very concerned about that, because I do get my clients to sign a buyer agency agreement, and then there are those that don't wish to do that. What do you do in those cases? When
I reference the complaint or the testimony in this week's trial regarding the requirement that the seller pay the selling broker's commission, that was a complaint that was raised, but it's not something that's been mandated or restricted. They're arguing right now that it's unfair or unjust that the seller should be made to pay for the buyer's agent to negotiate against the seller. That's often a different angle that has not been resolved whatsoever.
That brings us back to when I first started in this business, that there were no buyer agent. You were sub-agent to the seller, regardless of XYZ company.
And that was a farce or a fiction that was ignored for decades. And the Real Estate Commission's efforts back at that time in 1996, were aimed to dispel the misunderstanding that existed by a husband and
Mike, I think you might have accidentally muted Mike. Somebody. All right, all Mike's muted. We're almost
there we go.
time. So let's take one more question after this one.
Sure. Did you want me to finish that or?
Yeah, sure. We just you got muted for a second. Or maybe not. Was that a question by Susan? I think she got up and walked away. But yeah, I guess you could finish it.
Okay, sure. The business relationships law that went into effect in about 1996, they wanted to address and reverse a fiction, because up until that time, every person working with a realtor in New Jersey was, as a general matter, working with the seller's agent, but nobody knew that, nobody understood it. They didn't understand that the seller's agent was indebted to the seller for fiduciary responsibilities, not to the buyer whatsoever. And that was one of the objects that led to the change in business laws in New Jersey.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. Let's do one more. Who's got a great question to wrap this up? And then if we have questions after that, you can send them to me and I'll reach out to Mike to get them answered after the fact. Does anybody have one last question? If not, we can.
NJ Joe's got his hand up.
All right, NJ Joe.
Hi. Yeah, I was just looking for some help in understanding the intention behind the lawsuit, because when I meet with a seller, I tell them my rate is X, it's 5% or 6, and we're going to go into an MLS system and we're going to give a portion of that to other agents. But like you said just before, if I sell it myself, it's still 5 or 6%. If we have a cooperating broker, then we're going to give them that split. I've never demanded you need to give something to another broker. So how is that different, where I'm saying my fee is 5%, and then what we decide to do with that 5% that comes after?
Well, probably the central undercurrent that exists to explain this lawsuit that's going on in Missouri is the idea that nobody should be, this is their position, not mine, nobody should be entitled to 5% or 6% to sell a house when you consider the time that it takes to sell, when you consider that, especially in a hot market, how little time it could be, how little money is required to be invested, and sometimes how quick the process is because there's 17 prospective bidders. So that, they are indirectly, maybe if I read more thorough, or if I attended the proceedings, I'd have a different opinion, but they are indirectly complaining it. Why in the world are realtors getting 5 and 6% of the property value? And why is it not negotiable? And why is everybody sticking together at those rates? And why can't we do what is done in other areas, other countries, to get 1.5%, to get 2%? That's the largest central issue. But it's, so far, in terms of the reports I've been able to review, it is going kind of under the radar, I think. But that's going to be a big closing pitch and central argument for the attorneys when they come to that stage.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you taking nearly double the amount of time you agreed to. I think we'll make it worth your while in that I think we're going to be coming to you with all of our documents. If you could take a look, and I don't know if you can possibly bulletproof documents in this environment, but to the extent that you can, help us fine tune them and keep our agents as safe as possible.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to do it, and thank you for inviting me to this session. Good luck to all of you.
Thanks,
All right.
Mike.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you. Take care now.
Appreciate it.
Wow, that was good.
Yeah. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So let's see what's next. So we have a big announcement. We merged with a wonderful company in Patterson, and it finally became official. We are super excited. And if this is the ugliest and most uninteresting formatted slide, I did it myself before it started. So I just before this started, I apologize. Unfortunately, I don't think Nancy, who runs the company, is able to be here because she's such a busy, successful woman and she's at a closing. Casa Real is a great company, family owned. They have a ton of commercial expertise. They have a lot of multilingual agents. They're just a great group of folks. And I don't know if anyone from the team is on. Colleen, if you want to talk a little bit about of bringing Casa Real on board.
So I'm not sure if we don't have all the agents in yet. We're working on it diligently, but I want to give a shout out to everybody that's in. We started a WhatsApp group just for Casa Real and the staff for any questions that have to be done. We're going to physically be in their office next week to, help them with the transition. And if I texted you about this, you've got my cell phone now, and reach out to me for anything that you need. I know Oscar already and I were chatting today. He needed Mike Blasius's number and gave a referral over to Carnegie Mortgage. It's just the best bunch of people. I mean,
I think I saw Chloe. Is Chloe on?
Chloe. I think there's other ones on, but so far we have in the system Nancy, Chloe, Erica, Joanna, Lorena, Olympia, Victoria, Griselle, Felipe, Yanira, Raphael, Randy, Felix, Oscar. I know there's more that are coming in. So those are our new agents from last week that we got in. So,
well, congratulations, Colleen, and congratulations to Casa Real. That's a huge win for Keller Williams and a great partnership that everyone is super excited about.
Everybody. Awesome. Oh my God, it's a whole
Welcome,
team.
everybody. Chloe, did you want to say anything? You certainly don't have to if you don't want to.
I'm super appreciative with the patience of you guys, and I'm really excited to start this new journey and partnership. I'm speaking for my mother and I, because she, of course, like you said, she couldn't be here. I made sure I was here, but I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to meeting all you guys, as many of you guys that there is, but I'm super excited, and thank you.
Well, thank you. Welcome aboard. If you need anything at all, we're here to help in any way that we can. We're very excited. All right. So can everyone still see my screen? I was trying to spotlight Chloe. I don't know if I did that right. Do you, can you see David's slide right now? Yes? Somebody give me a thumbs up.
You're good.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's turn things over to David Radney. David is the founder and head coach of Push, and one of the best speakers I've ever had the opportunity to listen to. Super motivational and inspirational, and just an awesome human being. So thank you for joining us, David.
Thank you so much. Is this screen available where I can share my screen?
If it's not, I will make it available right now.
You're good. Go ahead.
Before I share my screen, I have to say I got off the call early last week. Sarah D, I heard you're coming from me, so I just wanted you to know I've been practicing my social media skills. I'm ready for you. I'm ready for this contest. So let's get it going. But I had a video that I wanted to go ahead, Al. Go ahead.
I was going to say she's no joke. She's definitely coming for you. Not only on the call, but after. She used the word taking him down. I don't know why she would want to take you down. There's enough room for both of you, in my opinion.
Challenge. Let's go. But today, guys, I had a message, but I wanted the message to come from one of my mindset coaches, because it's such a great message and it's so timely as we head into the new year. So if you guys can just give me 6 quick minutes, what I want you to do though is get off TikTok, stop doing your emails, get off the phone, like pay attention to this message for 6 minutes, because if it impacts you the way it impacted me, it's going to change your mindset. It's going to change the way you think about yourself. And we all know, change the way you look at things you look at change. So please give me 6 minutes. I'm going to share this quick video with you, and then I'd love to hear what you thought about it. So give me 1 second here as I share my screen. This is one of my mindset coaches. His name is Prince EA, if you guys are not familiar with him.
One of my favorite stories is about a man. Now, this man is walking down a path and finds an egg, an eagle's egg. He takes this egg and puts it into the nest of a backyard hen. Pretty soon, the eagle hatches with the chicks and grows up with them. Now, all his life, that eagle did what the chickens did. He would poke around in the dirt looking for worms and insects to eat. He would fly a few feet into the air like chickens do, and he'd cluck around. And as time passed, that eagle, he grew very old. And one day, he saw something above him. This thing, it glided gracefully and majestically through the clouds. "What's that?" the eagle says. "Oh, that's an eagle," one chicken responds. "He is the king of all birds, the master of the skies. But we belong to the ground because we are just chickens. Don't worry about him. You will never be that." And that eagle lived and died a chicken because that is what he thought he was. This new year, it's time to take flight. You and me both know that you don't belong where you are right now. You don't belong with some of the people you're around right now. You got no business doing what you're doing right now. You're being a chicken when you were born an eagle. So now the question is, how long is it gonna take to make the decision, to make the shift, and show some courage, show some character? That word character is funny. You know, character is the ability to carry out a resolution long after the excitement of the moment has passed. I'm gonna say that again because some of y'all might have missed it. Character is the ability to carry out a resolution long after the excitement of the moment has passed. Are you gonna say you wanna do something, do it for 2 weeks and then quit like you did last year, like you did the year before last? You say you wanna lose weight, get in shape, get your business off the ground, get closer to God, and then turn around and party, get lit, drink alcohol, eat like crap, and continue to live below who you were created to be, thereby committing the greatest sin known to man? No. I'm not religious, but I'm gonna take you to church. Watch this. See the word sin. Watch this. See the word sin comes from the Greek word sin used in archery. It means to miss your mark. The greatest sin in life is to miss your mark, to not be who you were created to be a chicken instead of an eagle. I don't know if you guys remember growing up the story of Icarus. You know, a lot of people remember Icarus being this guy who he had the wings made out of wax. His father cautioned him not to fly too high or the sun will melt your wings, and what happened? It was Icarus's arrogance that caused him to fly too high. Sun melted his wings and boom, fell to the earth dead. But that's not the full story. No. You didn't know there was more to it? See, Icarus's father also cautioned him against flying too low. He said, don't fly too close to the sea, or your weight will cause you to plummet into the water. See, we all know not to be too arrogant. Well, most of us. But how many of us know not to be too humble, too meek, too timid, too shy, too safe? It is said that the greatest tragedy in life is not that people aim too high and miss. It is that people aim too low and hit. I see a lot of people on Facebook, or everywhere, Instagram, talking about the friend zone. Laughing. He's in the friend zone, the hover hand. But I don't see too many people making jokes about the other zone, the comfort zone. Ain't no memes about that. Ain't no jokes. You know why? Because a lot of y'all are in there. Well, in this new year, let's step out of our comfort zone. Fortune favors the bold. And it is the cave that you fear, that will hold the treasure that you desire. Forget a New Year's resolution. Forget it. Let's make a new life resolution to be fully and authentically you. I don't know what dream you have, but I can guarantee you that there's somebody in the hospital right now praying, begging God to have the opportunity that you have right now. Don't blow it. It is time. It is time to go from mediocre to meteoric. It is time to go from being counted out to being counted on. It is time to fly like the eagle you are. Or do you want to continue to cluck with the chickens?
Thank you guys for letting me share that video with you. I hope that resonated with you like it resonated with me. Let me tell you the part of that really hit me is when he says, the cave you fear, it's that cave that holds the treasure you desire. And the reason why I wanted to share that video with you guys today is I know a lot of you guys kind of see yourself as chickens, but you guys are eagles. And it took people believing in me. Sally, I tell you this all the time, but you're one of those people who's spoken to me and said, David, you don't see yourself the way I see you. And for all of you guys on the call, I need you to look in the mirror and see that ego and know that you can have success in this business. You know, Tabitha Brown said something last week that I shared, that things aren't happening for you because you haven't started. And I just want to tell everyone on this call right now, this letting fear get in the way of getting started, to have the life you want, to make the type of money you want, it's time to take action. And sometimes you may not believe that you're that ego. Just like I didn't believe that I was the coach and the presenter I am today, but I had to lean on other people's belief in me. I had to lean on Sally. I had to lean on my wife and other people who saw something in me that I didn't see. So if you don't see that in yourself, lean on me. I believe in you guys. I know that you have it in you. And so what I want to tell you right now is that you just got to look at yourself differently and know that you have the ability to soar up there with those eagles. And let's go get it done. Let's make it happen. I want to see the success. And I just want to know if that video actually hit you, if you heard that message, if you saw yourself in that message, can you just put me in the chat? I just want to see if it resonated with you like it resonated with me. And Al, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to share with the group. And I hope that that message touched you guys. Appreciate the opportunity.
I'll just say quickly, I thought it was awesome. The thing that hit me, I don't know the exact phrase, but what I took out of it is the point where he's saying we're so quick to point out the person who fails or gets in the friend zone, but you don't point out the people who'll never even try. And that's the much larger group of us. You know, they don't get ridiculed, and maybe that's why they don't try, but that's much worse. You know, why ridicule the people who go out there and, you know, get dirty and fail, and at least they got off the couch and they tried something. All these other people are sitting in their mom's basement, you know, quiet and not even trying. Those are the ones we should be ridiculing. Like, you know, let's get out there and do stuff. And if we make mistakes, so be it. We get up and we do it again. You know, I loved it. I thought that was amazing.
I love that you said that. And Al, one thing I've been saying lately is that we have to learn how to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I shared this with you guys at the staff meeting, like doing this call right now, I'm uncomfortable, but guess what? I'm doing it anyhow. And because I'm willing to step out there on my faith, I'm getting better every single time I do it. And so we got to pick up the phone. We got to go door knock. We got to call FSBOs. We got to call our database. It's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning. However, you have to do it every day and continue to show up and have belief in yourself. And before you know it, you're going to be taking listings and having the type of business that you want to have. But right now, things aren't happening because you haven't started. It's time to start. Thanks again.
So good. And I think one last thing I'll say is, you know, now more than ever, because people are frozen with fear, you know, because of the horrible things that are going on around the world, but also this terrible market. If you're the one who's out there taking action and everybody else is frozen because they're in a fear mode, you're going to take a lot more market share right now. Say, there's double the amount of people out there that are not trying because they're worried about the buyer compensation. They're worried that, you know, closings are down 30% and they don't know what to do. So if you get out there and you're working while other people aren't, just like during the first days of COVID, we had our agents were still out there doing business. People in other places weren't, and we picked up market share. So can't can't thank you enough. We do need to move on, but did anybody have anything they wanted to unmute and say to David or about the video before we move on? I thought it was very motivational, inspiring. I think they said it all in the chat. Nobody wants to unmute.
Thank you, David. No,
Thank
I
you,
wanted
David.
So funny, David, because you and I had a text conversation yesterday about we always lean on you. You can lean on us too, you know. We're
All
here for
right.
you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And David, I don't believe that you're not comfortable talking in front of all these people. I'm sorry, you just scream confidence. So
I had that exact same thought when he was saying that. I'm like, come on.
yeah, come on.
He would be comfortable in front of 10,000 people. He's not gonna be comfortable on the
shining-
Zoom.
This is your format. You kidding me?
But
But
listen,
you never know. There are some great speakers that do say they get nervous, you know, so it could be, but I doubt it.
I do it anyhow.
All right.
I
Well, thanks
think
again,
we-
David. And thank not just today. Thanks for everything you do every day for us.
Thank you.
David,
In my excitement to get to David, we only got to half of this. I think we didn't get to welcome some other great agents that joined us. So in Town Life, Josue, did you have some agents that joined that you wanted to give a shout out to?
Sure. Welcome, Jeronima. Welcome, Sherry, and welcome, Cindy. Cindy will be actually also joining the Stacy Esser team, and she's on the call today.
Oh, and by the way, you know, it says this week we want to welcome, there's two $10 agents. We did not hire any $10 agent. It's supposed to say 10 million. So in this group, you know, there are some new agents, some experienced agents, but there's also two mega agents that joined us this week. So it was a great mix of folks. So I'm the only $10 agent here. Are any of your folks online that want to say anything? Josue, if not, we'll move on to Park Views.
Not sure. I saw Cindy a couple minutes ago, but I don't know if she's still on.
Well, welcome, Town Life gang. And then we have Kevin. Laura, is Laura on?
I'm here.
Welcome, Laura.
Yeah, so
Hi,
we'd like to
welcome.
welcome Laura to the KW Park Views family and also BCP. Laura has had a super successful business in Pennsylvania, and now she is bringing on to New Jersey. So we're very excited to have her and just talk about ultimate buy-in and commitment as soon as she joined. First week she joined, she signed up for Bold, and she made that positive push in her business. So couldn't be happier to be in business with Laura. She's a rock star, and we're ready to see her grow tremendously here. So welcome, Laura.
Thanks, guys. I'm excited to get started here. Also licensed in PA with Keller Williams, but I'm really excited to join you guys.
All right, sounds great. If anybody has PA referrals, we know who to send them to now. And then we have Dwayne from City Views.
And also one more thing. So I just saw Jeronima is actually on. I was wondering if she wanted to introduce herself to the group. And she's doing push with David Radney. Very excited.
It's funny. I was going to say.
I am. I'm excited about that. On Tuesday, I'll be starting that. And I'm excited to be here. I'm doing a dual career, but I'm pretty sure that this is going to take off for me. And I'm excited to go out and make some money. So here we go.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. What is this push thing? How does it work? And how does somebody sign up for it? I was wondering. David, do you know anything about how that would happen?
I mean, I know a couple things about it. So let me say this quick, just because I know we're over time. Push is a program that trains agents on what to say and how to say it. It's about learning scripts, how to internalize scripts and overcome objections. And there's also a portion of the program where you learn listing mastery, how to pre-qualify to make sure you're getting in front of motivated and coachable sellers. And then more importantly, how to close and get the business and get the paperwork signed when you're there, get them to price the property correctly, and also get your fair commission. And so the best way to sign up for the program, your market center will be sending out an email with the link to join and register. And it starts up November 2nd. So I'm looking forward, Nima, to having you in class. We're going to have a great class. I've been changing some things up, and I got some great feedback from the last class that I just held. And it's time to go out there and get our unfair share. We got to be prepared for these opportunities. And so I'm going to make sure you're prepared, and I appreciate it.
And David, if agents who are on here wanted to kind of get a taste of what it's like working with you and getting your daily injection of motivation, you do have some things that you do outside of push, right? There's the morning mindset calls. Is there anything else you want to quickly highlight?
I think twice a week on Tuesday and Thursday, you should be part of the morning mindset call. It'll give you a chance to meet your tribe and get to know the other agents, but more importantly, be inspired to get your day started correctly. So that's the first thing I would recommend. Tuesday and Thursdays at 8:40, get on the morning mindset call. And then on Wednesday evenings, I do real talk. And it's exactly what it's called. We have real conversations about life. It's not always real estate focused, but it's about the things that we come across, fear of success, fear of failure, some breakdowns that we're having in our business that we can talk about. And it's a safe space. The call's not recorded. It's not live streamed. You're just able to come and talk and be real and get to know the other agents that you work with. So I would invite you to both calls.
Awesome. Thank you. So what we'll do, if there are any relevant links and things from this call, we'll email them out. So after the call, we'll send out the information on push and anything else that we cover that people might want to follow up with and post it in our different groups and WhatsApp as well. So Josue, you were going to talk about Dwayne?
Dwayne is rejoining the market center, and I couldn't see if they were on the Zoom today.
All right, no problem. Let's keep moving. All right, we have what our plan is each week to highlight one of our amazing staff members. Folks in each market center may know the folks, but that are doing such a great job, but in the other market centers, you may not. And you'll probably not only get to know someone each week, but a little bit more about that particular role and some of the things that they can do to help you with your business. So excited to be able to chat for a few minutes with Amanda DeMarco. Are you here, Amanda?
I'm here.
All right. So maybe who's that in the picture? Maybe we should start there.
So in the middle, that is my baby, Winnie Peaches. We adopted her during COVID, April 2020. And then on the other side is my husband. That's
all right.
I'm, a little more partial to the dog.
Interesting. All right. So what did you do before you came to us at BCP?
So before I came here to BCP, I worked for Miele. It is a high-end appliance company. Their headquarters is in Princeton, New Jersey. So I started out there in the marketing department for their professional division. And then in January of 2016, I moved to the New York City showroom, and I was a luxury sales associate. So I did a variety of things like teaching classes, providing trainings, working with a variety of clients and sales reps and all those fun things, planning events. And I still have all that knowledge up in here. So if anyone ever has a vacuum question, I can help you out.
It makes a lot of sense that that's what you were doing before. I can see it in how comfortable you are, in speaking in front of people and how great you are with the agents. And you just have that way about you of someone who's been in customer service and sales before. So that's awesome. So what are you doing today at BCP?
So I work in the Rutherford office. I'm part of the Keller Williams Parkview's team. I am the Market Center Tech Trainer. I'll be hitting my 3-year anniversary next month on November 16th. So it's been 3 years since I've joined here. So in addition to all the MCTT duties, I also...
What's an MCTT for anyone who may not know?
Market Center Tech Trainer. So the Market Center Tech Trainers are here to help you with anything Command and DocuSign, pretty much any KW technology. We are here to teach you and be your support system. So anything
Awesome.
that has, again, Command, DocuSign, and then I'll also help with social media and content creation. And I work with Kim to help plan the calendar and events and all the fun stuff we love to do.
All right, cool. What's your favorite part of your job?
Truthfully, the people. When I was working in the showroom, I worked with 2 other people. They were quite a bit older than me. And when I was looking for a new job, I said, I really want to find somewhere where I'm going to be working with a variety of people. And I want to form friendships and relationships with those people that I work with. And that's what I found here. I knew.
So to be clear, what you're saying is you don't like old people? That's not very nice.
No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I'm an old soul. I am an old soul. But it is nice to work with people who are closer to your age that you can enjoy, going out for a drink after work or things like that.
I'm not offended. I'm good.
No, we love everyone. We love everyone. But definitely, being able to create these genuine relationships with both my team and my agents and other people from the other offices. That's been my favorite part. Absolutely. Celebrating everyone's wins and just
All right, cool. And what's been your best memory working at BCP so far?
Not going to be surprising, but the fun things. Be honest, anything out of the office. If anyone knows me, I like having fun, and I like going out and just having a good time. And while I'm very serious about work and I get the job done, I am always wanting to celebrate and just be with people. So family reunion was definitely my top memory. I got to go twice in California and Florida, and that has just been a great opportunity to bond with agents I would have never had the opportunity to bond with in the office, in other offices, the leadership team. So being able to explore all those different cities while learning during the conference has been tremendous.
Well, you said you get the job done. You do more than just get the job done. Everybody that, mentions you, it's always in a positive light and always saying what a great job you're doing. And I'm honestly sick of Kevin telling me every day how great you are, because he just absolutely loves working with you. So, I was trying to think of a question that might, in addition to just getting to know you, if there's something that you could say that would help some of the people. So is there anything in your job that you've learned, a tip that you could give agents, either from the technology standpoint or even a mindset, just anything? If you could give one little nugget that would be helpful to the agents on the call today, what would that be?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that utilizing the opportunities in command is so essential. And a lot of agents may still have that mindset of, I don't need to do that until my deal closes. I just got to get the paperwork in and then I'll get paid. As the MCTTs, we want you to think of opportunities throughout that entirety of meeting a potential client, to getting that appointment with them, to working with them. It is going to help you keep track of all your opportunities. It's going to help you get everything signed promptly and correctly, and it will actually help get you paid faster. So utilize those opportunities. Don't wait until you're already under contract or closed. Get them going before that client even says, yes, I'm going to work with you. If the deal dies, it's okay. You can always archive that opportunity, but that is a foolproof way to make sure everything is staying organized. And one more thing that I just learned today, Scott Leroy Marketing has created templates for us in Canva. So if anyone is a Canva fan like me, I can put the link in the WhatsApp, but they currently have just a few designs for listing presentations, flyers, and email signatures, but they will have more soon. So if anyone is team Canva, we've got some great designs for you. So stay tuned for that.
All right. And that reminds me, we want to send out all the relative links, anything that we learned here. And as Amanda pointed out, I'm very old, so I have a bad memory. So whoever's helping with this, if you can remember, we're going to send out the information for push, mindset, calls, the Canva link. Let's get that from Amanda and send that out to everyone who's on the call. All right. So those are kind of serious questions. I'll wanted to have a couple fun questions. So I have three. You can answer one of them or all of them. So who's the most famous person you've met? Do you have a nickname? Or do you have any interesting or unusual hobbies or interests?
So because I did work in a luxury showroom, I did get to meet quite a few celebrities. I've met Faye Dunaway. She told me that she loves Diet Coke and she prefers wearing scrunchies. I've met Molly Sims. I've met Alex Gornishelli, David Wright, Scarlett Johansson, lots of fun people. But my favorite celebrity encounter was when I was in high school. I got to go out to California with my family, and I saw a taping of King of Queens. And after the show, we got to meet the cast. And I got Kevin James's autograph, and he came up to me and he said, "What's your name?" And I said, "My name is Mandy." And he goes, "Do you spell that with a Y or an I-E?" And I said, "With a Y." And he goes, "That's the right way." So that was a great memory I have of Kevin James confirming my name choice.
I love Kevin James. He's hilarious.
Yeah, he was great. He was great. Yeah. So as you all know, my name is Amanda. Growing up, there were always multiple Amandas in my class. So 6th grade came along, and the very first name she calls is Amanda Arbach. In the back of my head, I said, I don't want to be called Amanda S. or Amanda S.A. for another year. And I had read that Mandy Moore's real name was Amanda over that summer. And when she got to me, she said, "Do you have a nickname?" And I said, "I go by Mandy." No one had ever called me that, ever. And it's been that way ever since. So if you ever hear me being called Amanda or Mandy, same person.
All right. Very cool. Thank you for that. All right. Any last parting shot, or anybody have a quick question for Mandy or Amanda? I know we're running late, so we can't take too many questions, but if anybody has a question or a comment. or shout out just to say how awesome Mandy is?
It's awesome. She's a great team player.
Doing a great job.
All right. Very cool. Thank you, Amanda.
He's terrible at trivia.
That was
Bird. All right. Joanne.
Okay. So at Carnegie Title, we're always trying to come up with ways to add value to our agents and attorneys while growing the title business. One of the things that we've heard from a lot of you lately is that you don't feel comfortable pushing your attorneys to use us. So in response to that, what we've done is come up with a marketing piece that you can put in your listing and buyer packets. As you can see, this flyer gives you all of the reasons why your clients should use your local attorneys, your recommendations. I know it's hard to read it on the screen, but so here's the cool part.
So let's email that out too, and we give everybody kind of the follow-up package.
No, we're not going to email that out. Let me finish.
Oh, excuse me.
So here's the cool part.
It's just for Ira. No one else can use it. Only
That's right. Ira's my favorite. So we're going to personalize it, just like this one's personalized for Ira. And he picked his 3 attorneys, of course, who are all willing to use Carnegie Title. And we've created this document just for him, added his picture, name, and contact. So now he can simply give this to his clients and they can see for themselves why they should use his attorney recommendations. So all you have to do to get one of these is you have to email Justin or Ryan, whoever is helping you in your market center, and send your 2 or 3 attorney recommendations. Again, they have to be people who are willing to use Carnegie Title. So even if they're not a preferred attorney, as long as they're willing to use, we'll do it for you. And
we're not willing to definitely use, willing to consider using Carnegie Title.
Yeah. A real good percentage, a high percentage. So, and think about it this way. We have helped build so many attorneys' businesses because they use Carnegie Title with our preferred list. So not only are you helping your clients, but by recommending your attorneys and having them switch over to use Carnegie, you're really helping them build their businesses as well. So email Justin or Ryan, put in your pick of your 2 or 3 attorneys, and obviously your contact info and picture will be on there already. And we would be happy to make this for you, customize it, and get it right back out to you. So
is there a reason we don't want to send? Can we just send out the template to remind people to send that when we send everything? You don't want them? I think that'll remind them to email.
No, we'll come up with something else.
Okay.
So on the next slide is just Ryan and Justin's contact info.
All right.
Okay.
Yep. Sounds good.
Great. Thank you.
All right, Alyssa.
Yeah, I'll be super quick. Anybody who is interested in our lead gen programs, don't worry, I won't go into the whole spiel right now. You can go ahead and scan this QR code. What day is the 25th? Wednesday, there it is on the screen at 2 o'clock. We're going to have our info session. Even if you can't join at that time, go ahead and scan that because we do send out the recording afterwards. And I wanted to just quickly give a little bit of a shout out to some of our rock stars in the program. These are our top performers within our lead gen program. I'm calling them my lead gen superstars. And these, if you see those numbers next to their names, are the number of calls they've made so far this month just to the leads in the program. So shout out to Crystal Chang, who has made just under 600 calls so far this month. And of course, Liz, Cynthia, I won't go through all the names, but just to give you an idea of some of the amazing successes that we're seeing in the program. Don't join if you're not serious about lead gen, because we're pretty serious, and 600 calls is no joke. So I won't bear on too much longer, but go ahead and make sure that you email me if you have any questions and jump onto that info session, because we're going to go over the different programs that we have and some opportunities that we have for you.
Those are definitely not the chickens. Those are David Radney certified eagles right there for sure.
100%.
All right, let's move on to Carnegie Mortgage Partners.
Hi, everyone. So I know I spoke about this at the last meeting, but I think it's super important, the second opinion flyer program that we have for anyone who's already pre-approved. Just get us a copy of that pre-approval letter or a loan estimate to one of our loan officers. We will try to do better on rate, on deal, maybe product choice would be better. And if they choose to work with us and close with us, they get a $500 credit towards closing, which I think is super important in this market where we're looking to save our buyers and our clients money.
So, and there's no downside to this, right? I mean, if they get a second opinion and it doesn't work out, no harm done. But if they do, they get $500, right?
Yep, exactly.
Sounds
So
like a
it's
win.
great program.
Awesome.
All right. So the other thing, and this is a little video, but we have been utilizing something here at Carnegie Mortgage called HomeBot. And it is a technology that sends a monthly digest out to clients we have closed loans for, and it gives them an update on value and equity in their home. And it's something they can manipulate if they've made upgrades. So I want you guys to watch the video. It's a very quick video, and then we can get into how it works for the agents.
Okay.
I can't play it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to, I save this as a PDF, so I don't think the video is going to play, but let me see if I can go back to like the original
slide
course file.
Do you want me to pull it up, Al?
Sure, that'd be awesome. I don't mind an awkward silence. I'll sit here all day waiting for you, Alyssa. I don't care. There it is. It's going to be worth the wait, I promise you.
It's enthralling. You're going to be at the edge of your seat.
We had no sound. Let's try this one more time. See if you guys can hear this all right. Yeah.
No. All right, let's just jump to the next slide.
All right.
Never mind.
Yeah.
You want me to keep sharing, Al?
Yeah, just keep sharing.
Go ahead.
All right, my apologies. So essentially what this does is, as I said, it will send a monthly digest to anybody that we've closed on the Carnegie Mortgage side. And it lets them know what their value is and how much equity and sort of what's going on in their market, their neighborhoods around them, right? And through this digest, they can request a CMA. So that gives us an ability as your preferred lender to send a client your way who said, you know, I'm interested in knowing what my value is and you know, can I upgrade? Do I need to downsize? Those types of things. So there is an ability to co-sponsor with us as the lender. So if you want to go to the next slide, and we know right now it's all about facilitating engagement with, you know, past clients and homeowners. So when you co-brand with the lender, you're essentially providing HomeBot with all your data. So it is a database. It's $25 a month. And there's a $50 one-time setup fee for 500 contacts. So even if one contact had 5 homes, it goes by unique email address. So it's not 5 home takes up 5 of the 500 clients that you can upload. The data is your data. It does not get shared with us, the lender, and it doesn't get shared or sold. No one else can see it, so it is yours. It is $25 a month. There's no contract, so it's month to month. there's a $50 setup fee, but we do have a code which is $50 off, so they waive that fee, and the code is 50 off. But the biggest question that we get is, where do we get the home values from? Right, that's going to be the biggest concern, and the home values are coming from CoreLogic. It's not Zillow or anything like that. That's where the data is coming from. So it's just a way to keep your past clients up to date about what's going on with the market. But at the end of the day, you are the expert. And it's just a way of you getting pinged when somebody wants to know what's the true value of my home and does it make sense to move. And that is HomeBot. So if anyone's interested, go ahead.
Yeah, I screwed it up by not having the video, because I remember this being really cool when they showed it to us the first time. So I think, does it also use some kind of, I don't know if it's AI or something to kind of predict when people might be selling, and it's sending them more messages at that time or something? It's got some intelligence built into it, right?
Yes, as the users are more engaged, as the clients are more engaged, yes, it will pick up on their patterns and behaviors and start dripping on them more.
All right, very cool.
It's very cool.
So anybody who's interested can just reach out to any of the loan officers, and they'll be able to share the info with them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. What's next, Alyssa? We have some quick market center wins. Ridgewood, what's going on?
We had a great panel, and I want to thank a great panel on Monday about succeeding in a challenging market. All these agents' business is way up. So I want to thank Karen, Robin, Jenny, and Bluranda for for coming in and presenting and telling everybody what they're doing. And the one thing that they all are doing that is the same is getting up every day and working it like a job.
So I heard great things about this panel. If I was a team leader in one of the other market centers, I would take a look at these names here and maybe reach out and see if we can, replicate this panel in some of the other market centers, because it was extremely well received, and I bet they'd be happy to do it. All right, Book the Flake.
Yes, Chris came. I know he has a very busy schedule, but he taught the exclusive buyer agency to the agents, and they were very engaged with him. He took the fear out of this agreement, and they all left very at ease. I know maybe there is some tweaking of the agreement, but he just went step by step and just made it so clear and easy for them to understand. I'm hoping he's going to come back, because he said he would, to just kind of how to have the conversations with your buyer. So I want to thank him very much for taking the time and teaching it. It was well attended, and everyone loved him.
All right, thank you, Donna. Thank you, Chris. And same thing, team leaders. That class was packed and people loved it. Maybe reach out to Chris. I think he would probably be willing to teach it in your market center. Oktoberfest.
It was awesome. Want to make sure we thank our ALC for putting it together. Jack cooked some amazing food. We had a great time. ALC, thank you so much. We're so grateful for you. And yeah, Donna, is there anything you'd like to add to that, or that's it?
It was great. Lisa made a nice German chocolate cake, and Jack cooked, and everybody was very involved. It was very nice. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Kev.
Oh, that's Ford Lee. I saw
Esteban and I thought Rutherford. Sorry.
No worries.
Wait, one thing. Al, it's Karen. I'm going to post the pictures from Oktoberfest shortly in our BCP Partners website, Facebook page.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Karen.
All right, Josue.
Hey, Josue.
So would like to highlight Esteban. He's been doing a phenomenal job. He built a great productivity coaching program that it's helping people get to 6 figures, and he's doing a tremendous job. So good that he's actually attracting people from other companies because they're recognizing what he's doing with our agents. So Esteban, thank you for being a great leader. Thank you for being so humble. So humble also, that makes a big difference. And Kevin, thank you for letting me have Esteban in Fort Lee too, in addition to Rutherford.
All right.
And for Rutherford, we wanted to highlight Lourdes Henry. She has been such a beacon of culture for us here in terms of we're always asking the question, where can we help? And Lourdes has always helped us identify those specific areas. So we just finished up a back to school drive, and that was headed by Lourdes. She was behind it, and we're just so happy to be in business with her, not only for her drive when it comes to real estate, yet when it comes to just her passion for helping others and always helping the market center identify that. So thank you so much, Lourdes. We couldn't be more grateful to be in business with you. So thank you.
All right. So this, I think, might be the last thing on our agenda. These, we ask you each week to nominate people who did some great things over the past week. And then we want to thank them with, give them a shout out, but also $100. So we're going to vote. Some of the people that were nominated were Maxine. She's been helping her own market center, but also going to other market centers, which we love. And, it's not part of her job, but she does it anyway and goes and helps people in other market centers. Chris did an amazing job with the buyer's agency class. Ira, the smiling realtor, has energy that just brightens everyone's day. We all know about that. He's you can't help but be happy after having a conversation with Ira. Lynn Granti, the backbone of the Ridgewood office, the MVP there so far this year. When she was nominated, about 20 people chimed in within a few seconds. Ana Rosso is an amazing agent. A little sparse on the description there, but we all know she's amazing. And then another Anna is always being ready and supportive and doing a great job running our PC program. Judith Agad ran a great buyer's agency class and lots of other things and keeping us out of real estate jail. Alicia saw tons of people nominating her for various different reasons, being called the glue that holds an entire market center together and just being the best person overall. Brutilia Jr., I don't know if some of you saw his class today. It was packed, and he's been teaching lots of classes and helping agents generate a new stream of income by getting into commercial. So he's a guy who's closing a lot of business and on his own, but also helping other people close business. Farhan, an incredible broker and just, always there to help with challenging issues in a fair and balanced and, nuanced way. So can't thank Farhan enough. Esteban, we've already talked about, doing great work as a PC, and just probably the best attitude, I've seen lately. He's just a guy that when someone asks him to do something, whether it's really part of his job or not, he does it, and he does it with a smile. Gary Silverstein is being highlighted for being what he's always been, which is a great guy, supportive, and a great listener. And Joyce Powell is being nominated because she is a problem solver, and somebody's comment just jumped in front of that. Problem solver who's patient, positive, and helpful, and also keeping us out of real estate jail. So those are this week's nominees. Thanks all of you who have been nominated and doing that great work. And those of you who took the time out of your day to nominate the agents, I want to thank you as well, because agents and staff members, you may think people don't care, but folks really feel great when they can be recognized. So I do want to thank you for taking time to do that. And I think we have a poll where you can vote live. And
we do. Yes, sir. I'm going to go ahead and launch this right now. There are 2 questions. Don't only answer one of them. We're not able, because of Zoom, to fit all of the names on one question. So go ahead and you can vote now. You should see it in front of you. Is everyone seeing it? I don't see very many people voting.
I don't see it yet, because I don't know if I'm the host. I don't see it, or
No.
Does anybody see it yet?
It says launched.
All right.
If you don't see it, there should be a button on your taskbar that says polls. You can click on that if for whatever reason you're not seeing it. So go ahead and vote, please. Are you guys seeing this or no? Someone said yes, but I don't see anyone has actually voted yet.
I submitted.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
I submitted.
Now I see him. Now I see him coming.
I'm not getting it when I click on the name.
You should be able to just click on the name, and then you can submit at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm not getting that.
Should we relaunch it? Is it working for anyone?
I see everything and people's answers.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
perfect. Joanne, I think it's because you're a host then, because I'm not seeing it either.
Oh, okay.
Maxine, you'll have to give us the update because I only see I see 0 of 105 participating.
We're at 80 of 105.
All right, we'll give everyone about 10 more seconds and then we'll cut this off. And remember, just vote for one. We just can't fit. Don't vote for one for each question, just one total.
I'm going to tell Colleen who to vote for me.
Joe, I already voted. I can't vote twice.
All right. I don't like it when you guys fight in front of everybody. Let's be nice.
All
All
right,
right. Can we wrap it up?
I'm gonna go ahead and end it. And we'll share the results, although mine just say 0. Does anyone see what the results are? Maxine, hopefully you see them.
Yep, we see them. It looks like Lynn is our winner.
Lynn!
Congratulations, Lynn.
Good job, Lynn.
Congratulations, Lynn. Come on, Lynn, where are you?
Are you there, Lynn? Do you want to take a victory lap?
Let me go get her.
She's too humble for that. All right. So next week, continuing with our buyer compensation theme, we're going to have Scott Schumann. He runs the Sue Adler team, which I think I should have looked up her numbers. I know it's well over 200 million in sales. It may be over 300 million at this point, but he runs that team, and he was one of the folks talking to me about, some things they're doing differently in the wake of what's going on with the buyer compensation issue. So he's going to talk about what they're doing, talk about how to run a great team, and share some of his tips for doing business in a down market. So looking forward to having Scott next week. And that wraps it up. Aside from, last thing would be, Lynn, did you want to gloat a little bit?
No, this is not, I don't like being in the limelight. The thing I like most about BCP is being able to help others. Thank you for the recognition. Everyone, the agents, all of our team members, it's, we all work together to try and help everyone out. So thank you. I'm honored.
Well, I think that's, aside from your great work, I think that's part of why everyone loves you so much, is that you are so humble. You do such a great job. You could be seeking and getting a lot more credit than you do. But we absolutely appreciate you.
Thank you for
You're
the
special, Lynn.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I don't know what we would do without you, how that office would run without you. All right. Well, 2 weeks in a row, I said we would get out on time, and instead of getting shorter, these got longer. I promise it will be shorter next week. It's Mike was doing such a nice thing and taking his time, and it was kind of a complex topic, and he's super thorough, and I didn't want to be disrespectful and try to move him along. But I think next week Scott will be more concise, and I won't try to jam every single possible idea I have in my head into one meeting. So next week I will get you out on time. Thank you for those of you who hung in for the whole time. Appreciate you, and hope you have an awesome weekend. And Sarah,
Thanks,
take him down. All right. I see you're still here. Take Radney down. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Al.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.